There is this common misconception about China in Africa. And you will hear most Africans say that China is a good friend of Africa, that China is doing what most Europeans or America or in general the West haven't done in Africa or for Africans, and that China can be trusted wholeheartedly, and China has no aspirations to conquer or colonize Africa like what the French, the British, the Dutch have done. But this is all a very naive way of thinking. Because let me point out this to you, okay? If for some reasons, or if one day in the nearest future, China became a superpower, China becomes this big military country that America is today, what made you so sure that China would not start invading other countries? That China would not think like, this is our turn, this is our era, so maybe we should get stuff for free. Maybe we should impose things on other people. Maybe we should force other people to do what we want them to do. How are you so sure that China would not resort to this? So I think that we Africans are too quick to render praises on other people. Because believe me, it was the same thing we said in the 60s when we all praised America for all its intervention in Africa. But now we are finding out that those interventions in Africa might not have been a good thing for Africa and Africans, or wasn't really for the African people, but it was just a way for America and the Europeans to have an upper hand in the continent. That they did all those things not because they love Africa or they love Africans. No, it was because they want to have an upper hand in the geopolitics of Africa. That was the main reason why they did all what they did in Africa. So people should not see China building a few bridges, a few roads, or some infrastructures and think, wow, China is really for us. And China would never ever do what the Americans or the Europeans have done to us. People shouldn't be that short-sighted. All what we should do is pay attention. All what we should do is do our homework. All what we should do is to understand that foreigners cannot do for us what we ought to do for ourselves. We have got to figure out a way to do things for ourselves. We cannot keep on relying on foreigners in the hope that they do not betray us. We must start doing things for ourselves. If there was one thing that every superpower has done, is colonizing or is imposing their rules and regulations on other people. That is what they've always done, and China won't be an exception. Give them 50 years from now, or maybe 100 years from now, when they must have become too big or too large, and see what they will do. You will be surprised. So let's not just be carried away by what China is doing and stop using our brains to think. Let us stay ahead of the game. Let us be watchful, and let us deal with China, but carefully.